that is a traumatizing experience, whether it's paint or not. And the look in her eyes, look at Sandy's face when that it looked like a ghost. It looked like someone that just personally, I'm a huge fan and friend and sparring partner of Sandy Ryan, and I I don't think I've ever seen someone work as hard as her in my life. I've never been more inspired by another fighter. Um, we were in camp together. We were fighting on the same day. She's fighting in New York. I was fighting in Atlanta. So this girl would literally drive from Vegas all the way to LA in the morning at like 4. Let's say it's Friday, right? Friday morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., drives all the way to LA, spar 10 rounds, drive all the way back with her coach. That's Friday. Monday, does the same thing, drives all the way, 4 a.m., from Vegas to LA, spars 10 rounds, and does the same thing Monday. And she does it again Friday, Monday, and like without question, without complaint, without any, just sheer work ethic. And when she did that, she showed myself at our gym at the time what what like commitment and what dedication looks like. It was like a very humbling moment because I've complained about having to drive an hour to go train at a gym, and here is a world champion driving 8 hours round trip in one day to get rounds. Like that is dedication on another level. And the more I spoke to her, the more I got to know her, the more I realized that she's so humble that she didn't really talk about all the things that she's accomplished. And I didn't know she was a world silver medalist as an amateur. I didn't know she had 100 amateur fights. I didn't know that because she doesn't tell people. She's she's just the type of person that lets her performances in the ring do the talking. And I really respect that. And there's a lot of talk about Mikaela and her and about the gym situation, and people try to accuse other people of stealing coaches, but what I do know is that Sandy was fighting at 147 and I know Mikaela was fighting at 130. And at the time that Sandy was in Vegas in that camp, from my understanding, Mikaela was not 147. So to say that she stole her coaches, how was she supposed to know that Mikaela was going to go from 130 to 147? You don't see that in men's boxing. Men gradually climb up weight classes and they establish themselves little bit by little bit. I have never seen someone go from 130 to 147 before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you? Like Terry Harper?
I'm just going to say, before we get into that, for those people that don't know, because some people might not know, Mikaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan fought for, I think it was a WBO, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was a WBO title. So the night before, I think was it the night before the weigh-in or the night before the fight, I think it was the weigh-in, there was an incident that happened with somebody coming out of nowhere and throwing paint on Sandy Ryan. There have been accusations, like you've mentioned. There's been accusations of who might be behind it, the reasons why possibly that happened, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So, with that said, Mikaela Mayer was at 130. Were they friends? Mikaela Mayer's at 130. She decides she wants to go up to 147. Allegedly, she was upset because Sandy Ryan's at 147 and Sandy Ryan moved into a gym, and then all of a sudden there's two people at 147 in that gym. What is what's the real story? Were you there? Do you know what's happened? Do you have the tea?
Like, hey, I wasn't there and I don't know the full story, but like I said earlier, for someone to jump up multiple weight classes, 130, 135, 140, 147. For someone to jump up that many weight classes and to expect no female between those weight classes to come to that gym for their camp, that's crazy. That's not fair to someone that is looking for the best possible camp, for the best possible opportunity. Do you really think Sandy would move all the way and train all the way in Las Vegas just because she wanted to steal Michaela's coaches? Like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Were they friends though? And is that why Mikaela is upset?
I know that they had trained together before, and I've seen pictures of them together, and it was posted like great sparring, great rounds. I can't confirm or deny whether that's a friendship. Friends is a loose term. In a boxing, you know, people call each other friends all the time and they're not. So I don't know if they were friends, but I do know that they had seen each other before and had trained somehow, somewhere in the same vicinity. I've seen the picture. That's all I can say on that. I'm not an expert. But knowing Sandy, knowing her character, meeting her, speaking to her, seeing her in person, and I've also spoken to Mikaela. They're not the same person, and I would trust Sandy 100 times more based off her character, who she is as an individual, and you know, I don't think she's somebody that would go around looking to steal someone's trainers and coaches just because. And I don't think she did that.
So she moves into, and when I say she, Sandy Ryan moves into the gym where Mikaela Mayer was training, and then Mikaela Mayer decides to leave the gym. And there's this kind of resentment, I guess, that's bubbling up underneath. And then, like I say, there was an incident with some paint. Is there a possibility that it was just coincidence that someone happened to be passing by with a can of red paint and Sandy happened to get the raw end of the deal?
I don't think that for a second. And I've shown you and I've sent this interview before where Michaela's talking about, I have a big surprise fight week. Stay tuned. You've seen it. It's the way that this special surprise or something that's supposed to happen, the way it's described is as though whatever it is not related to the fight. There's something else that she's talking about. This stay tuned for the surprise. There was nothing else that happened outside that fight other than that attack. And along with that paint attack was the posters that were put up of Sandy Ryan's face and really bad words underneath those. So my thing is, if you're warning people about something that they need to stay tuned for, and it's not the fight, then what is it? And if somebody is in a vehicle and that vehicle is perfectly placed at the perfect timing at the perfect hotel, everything's just so perfect. This attack was so perfect to me. I'm like, this couldn't have been random. That had to have been someone tied to a team that knew when everything was happening, that understood some sort of timeline. It could not have been some random person that just wanted to attack Sandy. And in my humble opinion, when you see a post where it's like caption, green is better than red, and it's Mikaela in green talking about green is better than what red. To me, red reminds me of the red paint. And I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but what does green is better than red? What could that possibly mean other than a reference to the red paint? That I read that. I'm not the only one that read that caption thinking like, this seems like it's a stab about the red paint. And so there's just little things, and I wouldn't put it past her. That's all I'm going to say.
And I will say that she has denied that. She has denied having any involvement or any knowledge of this paint incident. Having said that, Sandy Ryan goes and fights out of her skin. And what I think that she can take away from that is, under that sort of pressure, a situation, if she can perform like that, because let's be fair, I think initially what must have been quite frightening for her is that could have been acid. That could have been something much worse than paint.
That is a traumatizing experience, whether it's paint or not. And the look in her eyes, look at Sandy's face when it looked like a ghost. It looked like someone that just saw murder. And that was captured, that moment was captured of true fear. Fear and shock. So now your body, your mental state, everything is in shock and is like trying to understand what the hell just happened, right? You're now like, okay, I gotta go back to my hotel room. I gotta get this paint off. Who the hell was that? Why? Who set this up? Was it Mikaela? You have all these questions, all of these things going through your mind, and the last thing you're thinking about is your fight. The last thing you're thinking about is, okay, I'm in my zone. I'm getting ready to get my hands wrapped. I'm staying calm. I'm getting in my zone. That's the last thing you're able to do because you just got attacked, right? And the weird thing is, I won't get too in detail. There are text messages that were sent to certain people before the fight saying, don't put her in the fight. These messages were from an unknown number. And again, I won't get in details, but there's too many things that are lining up now that are little warning signals that something was going to happen. And to think that they all randomly happened with no type of tie-in, and that there was no like to say it's a coincidence, I think is really stupid. Because the text messages, the paint attack, the 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 interview before talking about some kind of surprise, and then the caption on the Instagram post saying green is better than red, which to me sounds like red paint that she's referring to. There's too many things. There's too many things for me to believe that it was just random. So, I again, a lot of people deny allegations, and it doesn't mean that they're not guilty. So just because you deny allegations, R. Kelly denied allegations, P. Diddy's denied allegations. You can deny allegations all day long. Doesn't mean you're innocent. So we'll find out. There's investigations happening, and there's footage that is getting reviewed, and there's things that are going on behind the scenes. And I just pray that the truth comes out. And I am excited for my friend Sandy to get back in that ring. I'm excited for her to come back and to have the most incredible rematch in women's boxing. Because I think that rematch, because that's the thing is people love emotion. People want to see a fight where there's a story. And yes, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, that was a great fight, but there was no hate involved. There was no story. There's needle.
There's needle in that fight. And to be fair, in that fight you could see there was needle. And that's why I say I think that's a testament to Sandy Ryan that because I am sure at some point her team said, listen, you know what, you don't have to go through with this. Let's pull you out. And I'm guessing she just turned around and said, no, I'm not,
No, she's a badass.
Effectively, that was the point, I'm guessing, was for her to crumble and to pull out. Have you spoken to her? I mean, how's she doing?
She's doing better. I have spoken to her. And again, I don't want to give out information that I can't give out, but things are in the works. The truth will come out. Investigations will eventually come to an end, and we'll know what happened. But regardless of that, Sandy is a champion no matter what. And she will be back. And she'll be back even better than she was that last fight. I think that it's going to be exciting. I think, although it's unfortunate that this happened, in a way, this comeback, I hope there's a rematch. It could do some great things for the sport for women because of the attention it's going to get. So again, not a good situation at all. I would never wish that upon anybody to go through. Is it possible that there's a positive that can come out of it? There is. There is a possibility for something very positive to come out of this not so great incident and situation. So She's doing better.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, yeah, what a crazy situation to have to deal with. It's almost like something you'd see in a movie, you know?
Mean Girls.
I didn't say that.